Greetings everyone, this is Fernando from Moonspell and you're watching The Age of Metal. Rock on. Well, Mexico is Mexico, and not only for Moonspell, but people down there, they love music, they love culture, they love art, and they take this passion and this power also supporting metal bands. And we've been the first time in Mexico in '98, and it was Circo Volador, completely sold out, crazy. And I think that this concert in Mexico was something else, was very emotional, like the album Extinct. And people really liked it, and it's a concert that is getting, even in Portugal, people saw that passion and they were completely crazy about it. North America, it's harder for Moonspell, everybody knows that. It's harder for a lot of bands. And it's also harder when the band wants to conquer over North America, being themselves, because hands down, people here like more extreme music. They like other European bands than Moonspell, but our hard work since '99, the first tour here with In Flames, it's compensating. And I'm not the kind of guy that is accounting, smaller crowds versus bigger crowds. For me, it's what you get after the show. And for instance, today, here in Phoenix, Arizona, whatever, wasn't a big crowd it was a slow night even. But, we had less of a crowd here as well. But the emotion, the result of the concert, I think that's what counts, and that's what keeps people and bands coming back as well. So I'm happy, very happy with this beginning of the North American tour, because for me it's not a question of quantity, it's a question of quality, and we've been having a really good response every time. El Paso was great for us, Austin was great for us, Dallas was great for us, so we can't complain. We played Extinct, Breathe, we played Methuselah, Last of Us, and Funeral Bloom and Malignia. And on our set that we were headlining in Europe with Septic Flesh, we played 8 songs.
Okay.
And once we played 9 songs. I think I get what you're asking me. I think it's easier for everyone, to come here and play the classics.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, we could get away, with a set and maybe having whatever more animated response. But I think music above all is self-expression, and I'm not into the kind of band that a new album is just another experience, so it's just another addition to make a tour or to sell records or whatever. For us, Extinct is a whole emotional experience. It's the album of our maturity as a band, and I think if you don't come down to a tour and play at least half of the album, it shows a little bit a lack of belief on the album. And even though if we play Mephisto, or that we didn't play tonight, or Finisterre, and people will freak out, they already listen to it. And I think that I'm not the kind of guy that likes to mouth feed our crowd. I think I've been into metal and gothic music because it's challenging, because something you have to think about, because you learn from about literature in metal. And I think that nowadays metal become a little bit business as usual, because that attitude of playing 2 songs from a new album is definitely more of a business attitude than an attitude of someone that actually believes on his music, which is nothing wrong with that, and also that he's proud of his new album, and that's exactly why we play so many songs.
Let me touch you as forbidden.
Totally different, and even though I think Alpha Noir and Omega White were an awesome musical experience, and they're all the bands, especially if you know both sides of the album, to also do a lot of music and also to expand our things, and they really prepared us for Extinct. And the process was completely different. Extinct was an album that was born by something, I wouldn't say casual, but it's like the joke, the man gets into a bar. So the joke here was that I got into the studio and told the guys, because we were organizing the travel and the tour in Asia and probably Australia, and it's important for a band, but I said, I want to make a new album because I have all these lyrics, I have all these stories, I have the title of the album, Extinct, and I'm sure you guys have music because you're always making new stuff, and that's how the album was born. And it was born like when we started working with it on it. It was like probably 9 months ago, not even 1 year. So it's a short period, but it was a very intense process. We did some demos. We invited Jens Bogren, our producer, to come here. And I remember since he came to Portugal, to our studio, we never actually stopped working for Extinct. We went to Sweden. He was in Portugal 10 days, and then we went to Sweden after those 10 days, for about 35 days of studio. So it was an album that we tried to do as a whole band, recording with a really professional and also intense producer that was in love with the demos that we sent him, because he's famous of doing many stuff like Catatoni, Opeth, but also metal stuff, like more metal stuff like Arch Enemy and Amon Amart. And he was charmed by our music, and I think the result was really good. So the difference is that with the Alpha Noir Omega White, we were 4 years doing it. We were doing it in the comfort of our homes, studio, and I love that album, that songs, but we needed something different. And sometimes you don't know how really to explain it, but that's the best times, that you do an album because you're a musician, and that you not have always to be always, with your head in your career, So Extinct is a very musical album because it was born from the very simple desire of making music. It didn't matter the timing, it didn't matter what we were going to do, it didn't matter the hours that we spent, outside our families, etc. When I had this idea, like 9 months ago, we did the album, promoted the album, we already did the European tour, and now we are, heading into the North American tour. Then more will come, yeah.
I could take shelter, I could pretend.
Well, the connection was very musical because he said, when I wrote him first time, he said that he obviously knew the band, that he never thought about working with such a band, that he was a fan especially from Sin Pecado. Mm-hmm. So I told him, well, maybe you like this style, it's more dark, gothic, catchy, we'll have some orchestral ideas. And then I think was really a match made in hell or heaven, depends on your creed, because even though we worked with amazing people like Valdemar, for Wolfheart, The Religious, Two Mats, and For Night Eternal, he did an amazing job. And other producers like Ely, For Darkness and Hope, and so forth. I think that Jens was different, definitely. I think we caught him in a time that he was seasoned, and not that he's bored with the bands he does. Those are big bands, those are challenging bands to produce as well. But he wanted something different, and I think it was like we said, that the stars aligned, and that we got together to make this album that definitely benefits from experience, but it benefits much more of that musical connection that happened very early when he first listened to the demos, and he said, like a true producer, I said, I can improve this, I can, and believe me, it's very intense. He got very up close and personal with us, but I think that was exactly what we wanted and what we envisioned for Extinct. Couldn't be anyone else, I think. Ricardo had this ethnic riff that he played it many times, just as a warm up or whatever. But I told him, is this your riff? He said, yeah. So that stuck in my mind. And then I came up with a vocal line for that, and it sounded like this, of being one of the first things we worked for Extinct, and we didn't have the whole song, but we repeated it because we were always playing as a band for Extinct. We did many rehearsals, many practices. So eventually the song started to come into life, and I was very inspired by this Italian writer called Italo Calvino, that he wrote this beautiful book called The Invisible Cities. And this book is about imaginary cities. And Medusa is an imaginary city. Of course, there's the lamb that people will connect with Jerusalem, but obviously it's not a political song. Actually, it's a song about harmony. And the thing that happened, and it was very curious, is that this song has the Middle East touch because it was played by a Turkish orchestra that worked between Istanbul, but also with they also work in Tel Aviv in Israel. We had an Iranian friend of us, Mahafsan, that lives in Canada. She has a big internet following. She's a model and a dancer. And once I overheard her speaking, this is going to end up in one of our albums, and it ended up in Medusa. I mean, it's that part on that strange language, on that out of the box language. And then Yossi is a very good friend of us, especially with Ricardo, our guitar player. And he has this amazing instrument called the electrobouzouki that he invented himself, which is a traditional instrument from Israel, but it just gives it, pickups and electricity. And this song, which is a song about harmony, could get all these three people, from these countries where the politicians cannot find a solution. The musicians can, and I think it's definitely a beautiful song because it's a hopeful song, in a way, and it's also a song that people have to understand with an open mind, because everybody thinks now an Arab person is a terrorist, and Arabian culture, it's such a powerful, not the religion mixed with politics, but the culture, it's such a powerful, seducing, the music, the poems, everything. So this lyric, I took a lot of stuff from the 1000 Nights, or Arabian Nights, as it's known in English. And it has this feeling of 1000 Nights. That's the feeling we were looking to have in Medusa, something taken out of the 1000 Nights.
You're thinking down for Judgment Day. What to do the sky?
Well, I would say the story is about the relationship with women, at least the kind of relationship I have, the kind of love I experience. Women are dominants. They can punish us one day, and they can take us to heaven the other day, or not the other day, just in minutes. And that fascinates me. So Domina is what we can call a dark love song, in a way, and it just tells, about. It doesn't tell about the dominance, because we're not dominants.
Yeah.
We're not in charge, and I believe honestly that we should give this even the world to women, because what we are doing with it, and I'm very involved in Portugal in equality campaigns and things against domestic violence as well. And I think that this is a charming song, because it really tells the dynamic of love. Sometimes they bring us down, but if we love, we will resurrect, even if they don't pick us up from the ground. And I think the song is about picking yourself up from the ground for the questions of love. I mean, most metal bands write about hate, aggression, destruction, but I always thought that love is much more complex. I'm not going ham on people. I'm not going to do love metal. That's not a thing. But love has always been the great subject of the darkest poetry. And you can quote many authors and see their love poems, and you'll be surprised. Well, how we did it, back in Portugal, it's a kind of a blur, because there was different people in the band, 3 different people, And we didn't have rehearsal space at the time, so we were just, I remember writing Erotic Alchemy in one space, writing Vampiria together with the other guys in another space, so it was quite chaotic. I think the pieces came together when we went to Germany to record with Valdemar Sorica, which was our favorite producer. You know, because he did Samael, did Tiamat, did The Gathering, all the bands we liked at the time. So we went to Germany, and then I remember very well the story. We were very naive. We had to learn a lot. Valdemar was a very demanding guy, even cold to us sometimes. We were just, you know, six wolves on the loose from Portugal with a record deal with Century Media. So we wanted to impress, we wanted to make a great album. And the recordings were very difficult because we were not definitely used to work at such a professional level. And I don't think Valdemar liked the album when it came out. But what I know is that this album has a special magic about it. It's an album that not only in Europe, but in faraway places, like, you know, faraway countries in South America, in Asia, it was an album that everybody kind of picked up. And it didn't matter if it was a Portuguese band or a Swedish band. It had this kind of charm. So I remember doing it and coming home after mixing it on a plane, of course, from Germany to Portugal, and I was listening to it on a tape on my Walkman. You know, that's already ancient history. But when I listened to it, because we rehearsed in such shitty space, I couldn't listen to my vocals at all or whatever. So it was really a first time for a lot of stuff in Moonspell first album. And the Moonspell was more of an EP. And I remember listening to the Mike's drums and the Wolf Shade, especially, and the part of the solo that I love. I was like, well, I think I didn't know if it was going to be special or breakthrough or sell so many copies as it did. But I said, well, not bad. I mean, I was expecting something completely different, but this really sounds good, and this really sounds interesting, and this really sounds different. And then we went on tour, and people just embraced the album. Yeah. It's a very honest album. You know, it's a very over-the-top album. Like you said, maybe lay down some blueprints, and we were fans of Paradise Lost Gothic, which I think is the first Gothic metal album ever done. Even the name was, you know, like anticipating its nature. And Wild Honey Tiamat is just a masterpiece. You know, it's an undisputed masterpiece. And with Wolfheart, we were still on time to write a little Portuguese page into a bigger book of what was happening in Europe in the 90s. But I think this album, its honesty, it's kind of like larger than life, but also naive stuff. That there was Gothic songs, there was Vampiria, there was Alma Mater, true metal song, there was you know, Wolf Shade, there was the folk songs, and folk metal became so big afterwards, but there was not really anyone doing it. There was Skyclad, there was some, but not like this, you know, not like this black metal oriented folk. So I think definitely, musically speaking, and it was the hard work we put into it. I mean, we jumped in the van, we did 8 weeks in the van, supporting Morbid Angel, Mortal, hard bands to support. Morbid Angel was at their prime with Domination, you know, death metal fans, black metal fans, and Wolfheart. And all of a sudden, you know, when we came back from that tour that was like 2 months long or more, Robert Camp from Century Media, the boss, opened the door all happy and said, congratulations, you're the best-selling debut in 2 months of ever from Century Media. We already went over the 50,000 copies. And then I told him, all right, they invite me dinner and put me in a hotel. And he did. So that was our first glimpse of success. A meal and a room. Both cheap, but, you know, it was good. I wouldn't think it will have the same effects. People these days, most of the people are not into something that it's ambiguous in a way. You know, that it's many styles, goes many directions. People really like. Of course, there's inventive bands, but I think that it will have the impact. You know, only if you lived in the 90s and only if you were there on that European scene, you will witness the appetite for avant-garde, for bands from other countries. And what I see in metal these days, and especially in gothic metal, is that it became a little bit of a formula. So bands don't dare that much. And Wolfheart, even if people hate it, I don't know anyone hates it, but there was some bad blood. Not all of the reviews were 100%, but whatever. Wolfheart is a daring album, and that marked us as a band always to go further with our music and not being afraid of trying out stuff. So I think we're not living the right context in metal music to embrace very different projects. I think some bands are doing a great job on that. Opeth, Catatonia, Paradise Lost. We try our thing as well. But what's really filling the places, it's metal bands that have definitely a more structured sound. And they're not so experimental avant-garde.
Can't you see that the curtain has fallen between us? And that the statue...
Well, next, when we arrive, the last date will be in Atlanta, Georgia. So we fly back to Portugal, and the next day we will be on the plane to Germany. The festival season starts. We're going to play a couple of festivals in Europe, countries like Germany, Belgium, Turkey, Portugal, etc. We're going to play Rock in Rio, Brazil, on the 25th of September, which is a big gig for us. And we're trying to organize a South American tour after this one, and we are ready to announce another European tour that starts on the, I think, I'm not very good with the dates, but I think it starts on the 19th of October up to the 22nd of November. And then we want to take December off just to be at home, with the families, with my kid. And that's the plans for Moonspell. And then we have great plans for 2016 as well, touring-wise. And I believe that our next release will be a live DVD, because we just have one. So, Lucid Heavy Metal, that was released already many years ago. So we definitely look forward to, but it has to be interesting, and it has to be an experience for the listener and the viewer. So I'm still thinking about what's going on, and what can we do, which country to record, which guests to use. But I think we'll have a DVD maybe 2016, 2017.